Hello, that was really abrupt. Hello, everyone. Hello. So, I am Lapora Lindsay. So, for those of you who do not know me, actually, before I get into it, you all are probably slowly checking in, or maybe perhaps you are catching the replay. So, if you are just now logging in, be sure to let me know where you are viewing from, or if you decide to catch the replay, whenever that may be sure to let me know that you are catching the replay. So this is just going to be a 15-20 minutes. We're talking about professional development topics. We're focused in on workplace value. So only 15-20 minutes. So if at the end of this you're thinking, hey, I would really like to hear a little bit more, then be sure to check out my or sign up for my subscription, my email subscription that goes out twice a month, where I'll be providing some insights. But I will also share this again towards the end of today's live stream. So don't worry if you can't catch it now. I'll share this again later as well. So, hello everyone. For those of you who do not know who I am, my name is Lapora Lindsay, and I am a workshop facilitator and also a keynote speaker on workplace value. So, essentially, what is workplace value? Well, one of the things that I am extremely passionate about and I love to share is that we all have self worth. And this is a value that we all have internally. And that is, we're not debating that we're not going to argue about that. Every single person has value. The other part of value is workplace value. And workplace value is about how are your actions, your contributions, how does that fit into the workplace in a way that is seen as valuable by your colleagues, by your coworkers, supervisors, essentially the people who you have contact with, whether directly or indirectly. So today, our topic, when we're talking about workplace value, our topic is about why your title doesn't define your impact. Why your title doesn't define your impact. And I already know some of you are probably like, oh no, are we going to get into like this touchy feely, squishy type stuff? And yes and no. So even though it is one of the more internal focus points, it really does have some tangible benefits, some tangible outcomes, results. And that's what we're going to talk about. So first, when we talk about why your title doesn't define your impact, I want to share this little story with you. This started early on in my career, uh, where I don't know if you could define me as a journalist per se, but I was a journalist, but I wasn't, not officially. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And the company that I was working for, I was a little bit irritated by like the structure. It just wasn't working for me. And I was like, you know what? I got to let them know what's going on because this isn't working for me. And so I had a conversation with the owner and it didn't go too well. It didn't go too well at all. And I ended up leaving that job. And it was probably a few months later that myself and the owner still stayed in contact and we had a conversation. And it turned out to be to where they found some of the things that I shared very beneficial. And to be honest, I found some of the things that they were sharing with me also beneficial, but neither one of those came right then and in that moment. And so, why do I share this story? I share this story because, as someone who myself had came into this company, not truly a journalist, not truly understanding the background of it, but being able to share my insights, being able to share my perspective, I was able to make an impact beyond what my job title was. And my job title was just get the story done, right? And so I share that because a lot of times when we're thinking about the role in that workplace, we're just focusing in on what does the job description say, or the certification, or how does it directly relate to this role. But a lot of times it goes outside of the box. And the other part of that as well is that I'm a military spouse, and I've been a military spouse now for almost 17 years. And this isn't a situation that's isolated to me. It's something that I've seen amongst other military spouses who are trying to navigate their professional realm. What can I do in order to bring value to that workplace that impacts others around me. And even outside of the military spousehood, I know that many of you are also facing those struggles with, this is my current role, but how can I go past that? Oh, great. I'm glad you enjoyed the story. Appreciate it. For some reason, I can't respond via chat, but I'm glad the story was something that resonated. Okay. So when we're talking about how do we get past this, right? Even as a military spouse or wherever you are in your career. When you think about the workplace, we look at the fact that we all work in parts, right? And when you're looking at any type of organizational structure, we all work in parts. When we collaborate, when we go past, hey, I'm just going to do my job, I'm just going to work in this silo, instead of, hey, how can what I do impact the team that I work with, or how can what I do impact the organization, then that is when we create solutions that help more. Now, I don't think there's any solutions that is going to help all. But as we start to collaborate and have conversations with other people, that is when we create solutions that help more. And so that is the goal when we are looking at how does our title, how can our impact go beyond our title. So now you're probably wondering, okay, Lepora, so now that you've kind of explained this, how can I make this happen? And how are you going to do this in the next 7 minutes? But I got you. So I actually got a question last week from someone. For those of you who follow me on social media, I oftentimes share about workplace value and how a large part of it is about, connecting with people in the workplace and determining what we can do based off of the need. And one of the questions that I received is, well, if I'm always trying to connect with and make my value based on all of these people, and I'm trying to please 10 different people, how do I keep my own identity and stay true to my own values? Which was an absolute great question. And here is how to make this happen. So how to make that impact happen beyond your title in the workplace, but also keeping in mind that we can't please everyone. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with You Pick Two, but at a lot of different restaurants, they have You Pick Two, where you choose like a soup and a salad, or maybe you get like two different options and you get the opportunity to kind of mix and match. So I want you to think about the You Pick Two, because when you absolutely right, to the person who asked the question, is that we cannot please everyone. So the You Pick Two is something to where the first person that you're looking to connect with and to figure out how you can create an impact with workplace value is you find someone that either is working in your department who you work closely with. If you don't have anyone else that works in your department, then perhaps someone whose work or efforts oftentimes overlaps with your work or efforts. And then the other person that you're looking for is someone who you don't typically come into contact with. So those are the two individuals that you want to start with. And essentially, you're starting with having a conversation with them, getting to know them, understanding their challenges, what their needs are, and what their desires are. So that's that first part. Pick those two individuals and get to know, understand what that challenge is. That second part is actually completing a self inventory. And maybe some of you may want to do that self inventory first. The order doesn't matter, because in either case, we're not really taking any action. We're just collecting data. We're collecting data from other people and we're collecting data from ourselves. So the other part is that self-inventory. And that self-inventory is really looking at what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What skills do you have? And you're also considering, what do you want to gain? So when we're talking about workplace value, even though the majority of what I focus in on is how can we impact the workplace, and it improves based off of the interpretation of our colleagues. Absolutely, I still will stand by that. But the other part as well is ensuring that our needs are being met, because even if we are contributing workplace value and our colleagues' needs are being met, we still have to ensure that our needs are being met as well. So what do you want to gain from it? Is there a new skill that you're looking to gain? Is there new insight that you need? What are you looking to do in order to build yourself professionally, to develop professionally? Because we can easily burn out. And so if we're not getting our needs met as well, then that burnout is going to happen a lot quicker. So ensuring with that self inventory that it's not just about meeting our colleagues and coworkers' needs, but it's also about meeting our needs as well. And so after you have started to collect a little bit of data or intel from those colleagues and from yourself, now you can fill that gap. And that could be a multitude of things. I won't go into each of those now, but just really keeping that in mind. So, where are we at on time? All right, y'all. We're cutting down on time here. So the other part I will leave with this is one of the things that I talk about in one of my workshops is something called the value triad. And in the value triad, we have performance, we have perception, and we have potential. We definitely don't have time to go through all three of them today, not even in depth, but I will lightly touch on performance. When we talk about performance, performance is about how to move things forward. A lot of times, people, when they send emails or hold meetings or completing projects, it's only for show. So we're not necessarily getting anything done with it. We're just doing it because we know it looks good. We look busy. But when we're talking about how to create impact beyond your title, if you focus on the task, even when you are sending an email, what is the action that you're needing? What is the action that you're looking to complete when you are in a meeting? What action needs to be completed? Identifying that and contributing to that is something that is going to be extremely, extremely beneficial. All right. So if you all have questions, I don't see any questions yet, but if you all have questions at any point, feel free to ask those questions. If I don't get an opportunity to answer them today, I will certainly look out them throughout the week because I'll be live next Sunday as well at 5:30 Central Time. So I'll be happy to answer those questions, but I don't see any. And I apologize if you're typing them and they're just not popping up on my end. That is very possible. Okay. All right. So just to kind of summarize what we talked about today, we covered a little story in regards to what it means to make impact beyond your title. We talked about the You Pick Two, how to make that happen. And then we briefly touched on the performance piece of the value triad, which is how we get things to move forward, which is not focusing on the performative, like what looks good, the theatrics. So I'm sending 10 emails today, 25 emails today. No, we're focusing in on if you're sending that email, how are you moving the conversation, not just moving it consistently, but you are contributing to something that is going to result in an outcome or result in something that has been produced, meaning that we're not just emailing to email, we're emailing because it is part of resolving a problem or a challenge or something along those lines. So as I close out this week, I want to leave you with a challenge. And the challenge is if you have not already, you pick two. Identify two individuals, one that's really that you work with closely and one that you don't work with so much, and just get to know them. That's it. Now, y'all don't be asking no random questions like, so what are your challenges and what are your needs and what are your desires? Don't do that. Like we're just gonna truly get to know the individuals for who they are. And don't expect results right away. Don't expect if this is something that's new to you that the responses are going to be welcoming because they may not be. But simply just opening up the door to start those conversations. That is my challenge for you on this week. And on next week, we will talk a little bit more about always professional development and always workplace value. And I will share that a little bit later into the week. Now, if anything that I said today was helpful for you and you're wanting a little bit more because we're only doing 15 to 20 minutes each Sunday, you can feel free to sign up for my newsletter. I send out emails twice a month. Occasionally, I'll send out another one if there is an upcoming workshop or a keynote, and just wanting people to know in case they wanted to attend, if it's virtual or maybe even if it's in person. But really maintaining that 2 times a week. You can sign up at https colon / mail chi.mp / leporalindsay.com / power dash of dash you. I know that was long, y'all. I apologize. Oh, thank you, Annette. I appreciate it. I'm so glad that y'all enjoyed it. And yeah, if you're catching the replay, be sure to let me know that you caught the replay. And I will see you all here next Sunday, same time virtually. And remember, please just stay adding value. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one. And I will catch y'all next week.